Sipping here praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fast. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
Hello and welcome, my name is Reese and today I'm going to be speaking to you about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. Forever Sports is proudly supported by BITDEFENDER, one of the global leaders in cybersecurity. Stay safe with the most consistently top-rated antivirus of the last 10 years and counting. To protect yourself from cyber attacks, protect your browsing and personal information, and so much more, get BITDEFENDER. With BITDEFENDER's premium VPN, digital privacy and freedom is as easy as flicking on a light switch. Bank, stream, and download without exposing a single byte of personal information. Unblock your favorite streaming sites and get access to content that you want to watch on up to 10 devices today. Effective, invisible, and amazingly affordable. Use the link in the description to get started.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall. here praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Sports. As one of the leading channels in the world providing free coverage of all of your favourite sports, we are asking for your support. Everything that we create at Forever Sports is available for free and always will be. To help us continue delivering high quality content, as well as expanding our coverage, we are asking you to consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. As part of the Forever Sports Members Club, you will gain access to select perks, such as exclusive stickers and emojis to use during our watch-alongs and live streams. You will also gain early access to premium content, as well as have your name listed on the channel under channel members. We strive to deliver quality content that is unmatched by other channels, and are always looking to take things up another level. And our members give us the chance to do this. It is thanks to our members and other support that we get from our fans that we are able to deliver campaigns such as the France 2023 on the ground coverage. So if you would like to continue supporting the channel and the free coverage that it provides, be sure to check the link in the description to become a channel member now.
Breaking news on Adrian Newey, a pivotal figure in Formula One, set to leave Red Bull Racing in 2025. Red Bull have confirmed that the legendary designer will depart in the first quarter of the year. Sky Sports News understands that Newey will not be required to serve a gardening leave. Thus, he will be free to join another Formula One team immediately to assist in their 2026 car design. Adrian Newey has been instrumental in Red Bull's dominance in Formula One. contributing to all their world titles since joining the team in 2006. His designs have led Red Bull to an impressive 13 world titles. Christian Horner, team principal, has described Newey as a true legend of the sport. His departure marks the end of an era for Red Bull, reflecting on a career that reshaped modern Formula One. As Newey prepares to exit, Red Bull is evolving its technical operations. The team is reportedly not completely reliant on Newey, ensuring a smooth transition and continued success. Speculations suggest Ferrari might be his next destination, especially with Lewis Hamilton joining them in 2025. This potential move could significantly impact both teams' futures. As we await Adrian Newey's next chapter, his legacy at Red Bull will undoubtedly influence the team for years to come. His vision and brilliance have been pivotal in their success. Stay tuned by liking the video and subscribing to the channel as we continue to follow this significant transition within Formula One. Adrian Newey's journey from a dream to a legendary career at Red Bull has been nothing short of inspirational.
Hello and welcome, my name is Reese and today I'm going to be speaking to you about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. Forever Sports is proudly supported by BITDEFENDER, one of the global leaders in cybersecurity. Stay safe with the most consistently top-rated antivirus of the last 10 years and counting. To protect yourself from cyber attacks, protect your browsing and personal information, and so much more, get BITDEFENDER. With BITDEFENDER's premium VPN, digital privacy and freedom is as easy as flicking on a light switch. Bank, stream, and download without exposing a single byte of personal information. Unblock your favorite streaming sites and get access to content that you want to watch on up to 10 devices today. Effective, invisible, and amazingly affordable. Use the link in the description to get started.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap. I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks. Listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast. Don't remember life before you, that's fast. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reese and today we are going to be watching the Miami Grand Prix free practice 1 ahead of the sprint qualifying later on this evening, and then of course the sprint race and qualifying tomorrow. It is a jam-packed weekend out in Miami, a lot of exciting things to go over, of course, in the next 15 minutes before we get cars out on track. There's been some new liveries updated for this weekend, with the V-Carbs taking probably one of my favorite liveries that I've seen in the past few years on a car, as well as Ferrari, of course, bringing new sponsors to this race weekend, and for the next couple of years having signed with HP. That means a new livery as well for them in Miami, paying tribute to their old American racing teams. But that livery was a little bit of a letdown coming into this weekend. People were hoping for a full blue livery on that Ferrari car, of course only just having little licks of blue down the side pods and on the wing, with the HP logos plastered all over the place on that car. But we're looking forward to this race weekend. We have got a ton of upgrades having been brought. McLaren having brought the majority of the upgrades for the entire grid, really. McLaren have 9 performance updates and 1 circuit spec upgrade on their car. Here is the full list. McLaren's upgraded parts are a front wing, front suspension, front corner, front floor body, side pod inlet, coke/inlet or engine cover, cooling louvers, rear suspension, rear corner, and the beam wing. So a lot of updates to that car. Let's hope that they're going to be quite competitive this weekend. They've been quite competitive in the first couple of races this season already, and they're just bringing those needed updates throughout to stay competitive and stay within the pack. So be sure to let me know in the comment section who you're supporting this weekend. I see we have Bob in the comment sections saying that with these updates, I'm not surprised if Lando or Oscar get a podium this weekend, and I wasn't wrong when I said McLaren are going to improve the most. They have done well in the circuit in the past. We're watching Max Verstappen watching over his car getting fired up for the first time. What will he be able to do this weekend? I'm sure he'll be competitive as per usual, but we're hoping for the McLarens this weekend. It should be quite a good one. Let's just hope they can do quite well. My little McLaren Lego car egging them on as well here this weekend. But Austria, Miami, it's not an easy track. This is only the 3rd time we've come here, and it is quite a tricky circuit, of course. Difficult on the tyres. A lot of the harder tyres being preferred here, the hards and the mediums for the race. Of course, soft, it's tricky to get it right for qualifying, but to be able to get into that right window, you can get really, really quick around here, the low 120s, or, well, 128 around there. But we'll have to wait and see what these newly upgraded cars are able to do. In the past, though, they've done around 128, 129, I think, was last year. Watching on Lewis Hamilton, he's looking forward to this race weekend. He's been told by the Mercedes marketing department that he's no longer allowed to sign Ferrari caps, so he's no longer allowed to do that when fans ask him, as he was starting to do already, getting ready in preparation for next season when he does join that Scuderia outfit. Another big news going into this race weekend, of course, is the announcement from Red Bull that Adrian Newey is leaving them at some point in 2025 is when it is going to happen. But it looks like he's going to spend a bit more time working on their hypercar department, so until that is done at least. But whether he's going to continue in Formula One, that is yet to be seen. He's apparently had some meetings with teams such as Ferrari. There's also rumors going around that James Vowles is begging him to come to Williams. That could be a really, really good signing for Williams if they were able to do that and really just launch them up the grid. But I don't know if he would really be interested in that. It would be a challenge for him, that's for sure. But I don't really know if he'd be interested in going down the grid. I think he'd more be interested in going to Ferrari, where he's shown interest in working with Lewis Hamilton in the past. And we're hearing about it now from the driver presser. And Lewis Hamilton spoke about how he would love to work with Adrian Newey, and he had a bit of a smirk on his face. So it looks like there might be a bit of murmurs in the pipelines for Ferrari. I mean, it would be incredible to see him there, and I think everyone, as Sebastian says, would love to work for that Ferrari outfit. Everyone is a Ferrari fan. Even if they don't work for Ferrari, they're a Ferrari fan. But moving away from that, I think it's going to be an interesting weekend out here in Miami. I think it's going to be very, very hot. A lot of the teams have brought, where they say circuit-specific upgrades for this race weekend. That's mostly to do with the cooling on their car, because it gets really, really hot. I'm going to quickly check the Miami weather for the weekend just to see if there is any rain. I don't think there is. But after a rain-hit weekend in China, the Formula One paddock moves to the other side of the world for the Miami Grand Prix. As was the case in Shanghai, the sprint format will be in play at the Miami International Autodrome, and according to the current outlook, all 3 days of action are set to be held in largely sunny and warm conditions. That's what we want to hear. It's going to be a nice, clear weekend. It's going to be a very fast weekend then, as we're looking on the name of Adrian Newey on Red Bull's pit wall right now, of course, the talk of the entire paddock. As we're waiting for the running to get underway, we've got about 8 minutes left to go until the session does get underway. We've got 30 odd of you watching alongside with us as we're watching Carlos Sainz, still unemployed, still waiting on where he is yet to go for the 2025 and onwards seasons. Of course, Audi apparently, according to Helmut Marko, have at least offered him quite a lucrative deal. Red Bull tried to sign him, but Red Bull saying, well, at least Marko is saying that they're not able to match that current deal that Audi are offering him. So that could be signed and done for Carlos Sainz. That is just waiting really for it to be announced. We know Nico Hülkenberg is going there for 2025 to the stake team. They're still calling it stake, but of course that is going to become Audi from, I think, next season on. They are taking over the title sponsorship, but that is all but confirmed, and they've announced that. That is quite exciting for Nico Hülkenberg. We expected a German driver to be in that team. Whether we're going to see another German driver or Carlos Sainz, of course, the Sainzes have a history with Audi. Carlos Sainz Sr. having done rallying with them, still doing rallying with them, having recently won the Dakar. But it's really going to be quite interesting what unfolds with Carlos Sainz in the future. Looking out at him, Fred Vasseur and Charles Leclerc sitting with their newly upgraded color cars for this weekend, and their new race suits as well, bright blue. But a bit of a letdown for the delivery of their car. I was really hoping it would be that bright baby blue that they were teasing on those two cars that they're bringing out at the factory. I think it was two Ferrari 488s that they painted in a special blue. But disappointing, unfortunately, they just did a little bit of an update to their normal livery. But be sure to let us know down in the comment section who you're supporting for this race weekend. We have just under 5 minutes left to get going now, as we have the views starting to tick up for the section. Be sure to like the video as well and subscribe to the channel if you are not. We're also bringing you now Moto GP content, which is really exciting this season. I bring you most of that. Be sure to join us for that. I think next week is the next Moto GP race. The midfield has been quite competitive over the last couple of races, as we're watching Lewis Hamilton now getting ready to get into his Mercedes, as well as Yuki Tsunoda getting ready. A lot of course, controversy happening in the midfield as well, with the likes of Daniel Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, and Oscar Piastri getting caught in that little bit of a scuffle. What will they be able to do in this race weekend? The likes of Williams, the likes of the I keep trying to say Alfa Romeos, but they're now the Sauber stakes. Sauber, or whatever they are. Saubers with Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, they've been doing quite well in the midfield, often getting a little bit caught out in the pit stop phase, unfortunately, with their team. They do seem to be cleaning it up a little bit, but we're going to have to wait and see what they can do this race weekend. We're seeing the titles now rolling for the start of this practice session, and be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think of this. Bob saying, new commentator. No, I've been doing the commentary for the last couple of races, Bob, but thank you very much for joining us as we're watching the titles going. Lance Stroll being shown as well. He's caused quite a lot of controversy in the last couple of race weekends. Of course, a lot in China last weekend out, where he went into the back of Daniel Ricciardo. At the end of that race, he went on to actually blame Danny Rick and say that he thought that Daniel Ricciardo was the one who was at fault in that incident. Daniel Ricciardo was quite upset and quite animated in the press pen or press pen after that, and was not very happy with Lance Stroll at all, and was definitely going to have some words with him afterwards. But hopefully Lance Stroll would have learned from that and will go into this race weekend a little bit more cautious. But looking at this race weekend, the 6th round of 24 in the 2024 season, the first of the US legs of this season, of course, out in Miami. It is quite an exciting circuit built around the Miami Hard Rock Stadium. The track distance is 5.4 kilometers, 3.36 miles. The top speed is 348 kilometers an hour, 216.2 miles an hour with 19 turns and an elevation of 3.53 meters. Not a lot of elevation at all around the circuit, but it is going to be a really, really exciting session ahead of us. Just looking at some of the other stats about this circuit. I'm just waiting for those to come up. Now, full throttle is spent at around 59.1% of this track, and the track lap record was set by Max Verstappen in 2023, a little bit faster than I thought. A 1:26.8 was that fastest time from Verstappen last season. Looking at the compounds for this race weekend, the selected tyre compounds are the C4, the C3 and the C2 tyres, going from the softest, which is of course the C5s, and the C1 being the hardest. We're right in the middle with the C4, C3 and C2 compounds. So just waiting for the session to get underway, 3 minutes left to get going as we're watching with trying to remember, Jack Doohan is joining us on the commentary for the session as we're remembering Ayrton Senna and Ratzenberger, who lost their lives around this time 30 years ago in Imola. Of course, Obrigado Senna, who everyone has a lot of respect and a lot of love for. So a sad day in history, of course, 30 years ago around this time that Senna passed away in Imola. Looking out in Miami, over the views of the Hard Rock Stadium and the paddock over there, bustling with people, as JNCO says, welcome back, Reese, thank you very much. Bob says, who knows what the future holds? Lando could could get on the podium for McLaren with his current pace. DMX908 says, with the way the season is going, just give it to Max and start the next season. It's going to be interesting, I think, with all of the rumors of the downturn and turmoil within Red Bull. Who knows if that's going to affect them mid-season? Maybe it's going to affect their pace mid-season with their upgrades. All the other teams might be able to catch up. And with everything going on behind the scenes for them, they might just fall behind a little bit. But who knows? Of course, with Adrian Newey as well leaving the team, that may cause a bit of upset. But that is really when you do get to see what the team is made of. When you do get a bit of an upset, you do get a bit of a shake-up in the personnel. But losing someone as critical and as crucial as Adrian Newey is quite a big shock for that team. So it's going to be interesting how they deal with it and how they come back from it. Of course, they do have some of the best engineers in the world. But whoever has Adrian Newey has definitely one of the biggest upper hands in Formula One. Of course, they were behind for a little bit, for a couple of years with Red Bull, with Adrian Newey still. But we've rarely seen how, in the likes of a season like this, in these set of circumstances with these regulations, he's just been able to thrive and really get his team not even in the same formula as everyone else, one above. Just, it's been incredible. As Adrian Newey, I'm sure he will go onto another team, or he might retire and go onto another type of motorsport. It will be very, very interesting to see. But we'll move away from the Adrian Newey talk, as we should be getting the green flag now out on track. We're watching the first driver waiting at the end of the pit lane. It is, I think, Kevin Magnussen. Yes, I think it was Kevin Magnussen there waiting. As we have Naropol Hita joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. And Cora, as well as Kofi Dixon, were saying, will the new W15 upgrades make the car faster than before? Well, that is always the hope with upgrades, hoping to bring a lot more pace into their race car. DMX saying, I wish I was born when Senna was racing. That would have been an awesome time to see. I also wish I would have been brought up watching Senna's era, but of course I'm a little bit too young, unfortunately, to have seen that. He died before I was born. But of course, every era is extremely exciting in Formula One, and we all get some exciting battles, of course, with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton having been one of my bigger ones that I was able to have watched. Of course, I watched Michael Schumacher, but more towards the end of his career. Kofi saying, oh, I've read that already. Bob saying, I really hope this weekend contains fire, thrill, and competition. The circuit certainly does seem to bring a lot of excitement, a lot of crashes. It's a very, very difficult circuit with little to no runoff zones, as we're watching Kevin Magnussen coming throughout the end of his lap now. His warm-up lap, that is, to start a hot lap now, as we have 85 of you watching alongside with us. Thank you very much for joining. Be sure to hit that like button. As Narol says, I watched Senna's era. Very, very jealous of you. Landon Norris just saying something's wrong on his steering. Really hard to turn right, easy to turn left though, so a bit of an issue on his steering. So we'll wait and see whether he comes straight into the pits to sort that issue out. With sprint qualifying being later this evening, they of course all want to get their setup as perfect as possible now. Landon is running a really cool helmet for this race weekend. Also watching that changing logos on the front of his car. He does come straight into the pits now to fix that steering issue on his car. It's a very busy circuit already. We've got both of the Saubers out there with Zhou and Bottas. Norris is out there. Oh, Norris has just come back into the pits, rather. Gasly is out there. Piastri is also out there. Hülkenberg, Ocon, Russell, Perez, Magnussen, Verstappen, Leclerc, Tsunoda, and Stroll are all out on circuit, and more are leaving. As I'm saying that, Russell, who's that? Hülkenberg, Sargent, and Albon is still in the pits though. Ferrari's out there already testing their DRSs as they come down that back straight, just letting the likes of Magnussen, who's on a hot lap, go past. So they're going to be doing a little bit of long runs today, as well as, of course, their quali paces, because they want to be able to get as close as possible for qualifying, sprint qualifying later on this evening. Looking on that, Logan Sargent, home driver this race weekend, getting let out of his pit box. Logan Sargent finally being able to use a new chassis this race weekend, so hopefully that will bring him some better fortune out in Miami. Of course, they weren't able to bring a new chassis for the first 5 races because of the limited abilities of the factory, because of it being within a cost cap area. It's expensive to make new chassis, and they didn't expect to destroy one so early on in the season, so they had to rebuild that, and that is what he had been running up until this point. He is back out on track now though with a new chassis, and he'll be trying to get back up to pace out here in Miami. He has raced here in the past, hasn't done too well, but hopefully he'll be doing a little bit better in the Williams this race weekend. It's going to be quite competitive. A lot of the midfield and bottom field are really fast out there, as Lewis Hamilton sets the first fastest lap with the 131.127 on a set of mediums. Piastri's in second with 131.4 on a set of hards. Gasly with a 132.2 on a set of hards. Ocon as well, 132.3. Magnussen a 132.4 on hards. Sainz a 132.7. Bottas a 132.8. Zhou Guanyu a 132.5. Ricciardo 134.1 on a set of hards right now. Bob saying, I hope McLaren gives competition to Ferrari, or else this weekend's going to be so boring. It'll be better than nothing, though. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens, as the Mercedes are looking a little bit fast at the moment, but of course they are on medium tyres compared to the rest of the grid on hards. Magnussen goes even faster on a set of hards for himself, 0.2 behind Hamilton's time now. Fernando Alonso is also out on circuit. He is going down the back straight, setting himself up for a hot lap now. Verstappen now sets the fastest time with a 131.0 on a set of medium times. Perez goes third fastest with a 131.361. Piastri comes onto the radio saying the steering feels quite heavy, so he's having the same issue as Lando Norris right now. So Piastri being told on the radio that he has the same issue as Norris as well, and he says, yep, copy, and continues out onto circuit. So he's seeing what is going to be able to be done, and then they will hopefully be able to fix that. We have a yellow flag in sector 3, and that is a Ferrari going very slowly. I don't know if he's facing the wrong way round. I think he might be. Yeah, yes, he is. He is at the exit of turn 16, and he is actually facing the wrong way around. He's just lost it on the exit, and it's so tight there. It's going to be a multi-point turn for himself here. This is not going to be driving excellence, unfortunately, for the Ferrari. This is kind of like Mike Myers in an Austin Powers movie, doing the This might take some time. Yellow flag still being shown with 53 minutes left on the clock. Lewis Hamilton currently waiting in traffic as it's Charles Leclerc. Yeah, Charles Leclerc still trying to get his car round, unfortunately. And other cars are just going past him, and he's having to kind of wait. I'm sure he's desperate to get around here, but all the other cars are piling past him now. He's in quite a lot of traffic, so he might have to wait some time for this. Fred Vasseur, team principal, watching on at the carnage, unfortunately, for his driver. It's a bit of a strange one, but it is such a tight track. It's very akin to Monaco, how tight the circuit is, and he's just not able to get his car around as his bemused mechanics watch on. Mechanic wearing a God tier watch there, G-Shock. I'm quite concerned that they haven't thrown a red flag here. Charles Leclerc still waiting for a gap to get his car around. Just watching the replay here, he comes through turn 14 and then the 15, that's the bus stop chicane, the very tight switchback. Turn 16, he comes through, takes a heapful of that curb, and that unsettles the car and just turns him into a 180 and sends him the reversing round. He's lucky not to have hit the wall. Has definitely damaged those Pirelli rubbers a little bit, not having flat spotted them because he kept the car rolling. But yeah, a bit of an odd incident for himself, and he's still waiting to get that car around. Bob says the downforce on the McLaren either make it better or worse for steering. I don't know if it's a downforce issue or if it's a steering rack issue at the moment for them, Bob, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Charles Leclerc, it is now a red flag being shown for him. I wonder if his car is now off because he had to wait for so long. A bit of a minor moment for the Ferrari, but a major moment now out on circuit. Reduced running time for the whole field. It's going to be difficult for them. I wonder if he has switched the car off and if he's going to have to get out. It will be difficult. If he does have to get out, that's going to be a lot of lost time for him for such a minor incident. But normally with these hybrid cars, they are able to restart the car. So maybe he's just waiting for the right moment and then he will get given the all clear. Is he climbing? He is climbing out. Ooh, that is a major, major moment for Charles Leclerc this weekend. A lot of lost running that is going to be for his car. That is a big, big moment for him this race weekend, where it could have been quite good for the Ferraris, which usually like high-speed circuits such as this one. They've done quite well here in the past. A very, very small mistake from him in turn 16, having hit the curb ever so slightly, and then that causing him to spin 180 and reverse around. Huge, huge consequences for Charles Leclerc with a tiny, tiny mistake. That is, yeah, it has become a lot more predictable in that Ferrari cockpit on the steering wheel, but you can still really struggle in these low-speed corners, and we're seeing that here this weekend for the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. His car is now marooned on the track after turn 16 on that start of the long back straight, and yeah, disappointing unfortunately for himself, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of minutes. Will they be able to get that back to the circuit in time? I don't think they, well, to the pits in time. I don't think they're going to be able to allow him to get back out onto track before the end of the session. Disappointing for Leclerc. I was hoping he'd do well, especially in a season where there's a lot of talk over whether he deserves that extended contract over Carlos Sainz, who's doing so well out in the Ferrari at the moment. And he's, of course, without a race seat for next season. Very, very disappointing for Charles Leclerc. He is, got his helmet on top of his head at the moment, out of the car, behind the barriers, not in the car where he should be right now, as watching on with Fred Vasseur, not looking all too bemused at the moment. His car is now being steered around what he couldn't do on the power, unfortunately, because of all the traffic, and it wasn't safe enough to do. But yeah, that is very, very disappointing for him. I'd be surprised if they allow him to get back into the car and restart it. These cars can restart, and I'm surprised they haven't restarted the car with all the cars off the grid and allowed him to continue. But yeah, I don't know what he is going to do now. Verstappen, though, with the fastest time right now, 131.071.056 faster than Lewis Hamilton's time on the mediums. We don't know exactly what fuel they're running on their cars, so it could be high fuel, it could be low fuel, it could be medium amounts of fuel. Who the hell knows? Certainly not me. But we'll have to wait and see what they're going to do here. We're watching on at the Red Bull pit wall with Adrian Newey's seat being empty right now. Of course, that is the talk of this race weekend, is Adrian Newey's news that he is going to be leaving Red Bull in the first quarter of 2025. So is another team going to snatch him up, or will he retire from Formula One and move on to some other racing series, or just retire in general from motor racing and maybe move into the automotive industry instead? But we'll have to wait and see what happens for him. He's, of course, still going to be working with Red Bull on their hypercar division, but no longer going to be working in their Formula One division. Max Verstappen, as I said, topping the timing boards. Lewis Hamilton close behind him. Sergio Perez in third. Kevin Magnussen in fourth. Piastri fifth. Sainz in sixth. Leclerc seventh. He's not in the pits as his car is being retired from the session, being removed from track right now. Gasly in eighth. Ocon ninth. Tsunoda 10th. Russell 11th. Ricciardo 12th. Bottas 13th. Zhou Guanyu 14th. Hülkenberg in 15th. And then the rest of the grid not having set a lap time. We are still under red flag conditions here with 46 minutes left to go of the session, and we're waiting for a start time to be released. Hopefully it will not take too long for the session to be resumed. Cora asks, are teams allowed to refuel during a free practice session, or is it the same no refueling rule as a race? So free practice, you're allowed to do whatever you like. They can do testing, you can do run plans, you can do race strategies, quali strategies, you can do what you like, high fuel runs, low fuel runs, hard, medium, soft tires, as you would like. That is what practice sessions are all about. It's about getting data for your race weekend, and they use it to test upgrades for the rest of the season, for the race weekend as well. So they can do what they want, but of course they do the refueling in the garage, not in the pits like a pit stop. That of course was taken away from Formula One quite a few years ago now, after big fires like we saw with Jos Verstappen, Max Verstappen's father. His car was engulfed in flames. I remember, I think it was Spa-Francorchamps where it happened, where they were refueling his car and it burst into flames. Looking at Daniel Ricciardo in his V-Carb for this race weekend, my absolute favorite livery, as we are getting the green flag now being shown, and the race, or the free practice session being resumed. That V-Carb car for this race weekend looks so good in that Miami one-off livery. I really hope they do keep it for a few other races, as it is quite striking and very, very cool. As race control says, the session will resume at 12:46, which is in 1 minute's time, and the clock is now ticking down. I thought it had been resumed, but it is now. It should be green right now, as it has now clicked to 12:46 Miami time. 44 minutes now left of the session to go, as I think that is Yuki Tsunoda waiting to get into the queue. Is it Yuki or is it Daniel Rick? I think that is Daniel Ricciardo, yes. So we have the McLaren of, I think that is Oscar Piastri leaving the pits as well. Both of them are leaving the pits, so hopefully they've been able to fix their steering issues that they had in the first part of this practice session. Sergio Perez leaves the pits. Tsunoda has already left the pits, and it is Daniel Ricciardo waiting for the traffic to come past them. The McLarens have brought a lot of upgrades to this race weekend, so we're really hoping that they're going to be quite competitive, possibly bringing some new steering upgrades as well, because they're having issues with the steering, so maybe just sorting out a couple issues there and going back out on circuit. Now we have the silver arrows of Lewis Hamilton out on circuit. Not very silver, there's a lot of black for the carbon fiber without any paint on it, but Lewis Hamilton is now out on circuit with that massive Miami Hard Rock Stadium behind. It is really hot though out in Miami as we're looking over the fake marina with the yachts and all of the spectators looking over on the cars. A really interesting opportunity to watch Formula One cars going around a circuit through a really difficult braking point on the circuit there through, I think it is turns 6 and 7. Yes, 6, 7, and 8. One of the more difficult braking zones on the circuit. Watching on with Logan Sargent right now, he finishes up a lap, going really quite quickly around this anti-clockwise circuit, coming through turn 1 now on the set of hard tyres to start his hot lap right now in the resumed practice 1 session. The only practice session of this Formula 1 weekend. If you don't remember, there is sprint races this weekend, of course, with sprint qualifying being later this evening, and then the sprint being tomorrow evening, and then the race qualifying later. Logan Sargent attacking the first section right now, 0.7 seconds behind Max Verstappen's first sector. Logan Sargent living about 18 miles away from where the circuit is situated here, scrapping off the speed from 200 kilometers or 200 miles an hour to about 50 as he goes through that braking zone through turn 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now through turn 14 and 15, that really difficult braking zone. It's a really slow sector, and then through turn 16 where Charles Leclerc lost it and threw away his session. Sargent now coming through the back straight, a really high speed sector, coming at 320, 330 kilometers an hour, over 200 miles an hour through the speed trap, 209, 337 kilometers an hour. Really, really quick through that sector. 135 of you watching alongside with us as Logan Sargent finishes up his lap, 1.3 slower than Max Verstappen with a 1:32 points. Just trying to find it on my timing board here. Just waiting for that to update. A 1:32.7 for Logan Sargent on the set of hards. He went really deep though in the braking zone after that first DRS zone with a bit of a lockup on his front left, so that is why. DMX says, what is the point of the sprint races? And Bob says, data and entertainment. Data, not so much. Entertainment, 100%. They get way less data from a sprint race weekend because of the reduced practice sessions. But entertainment, we get thrilled with a lot of, that is for sure. One of the V-carbs going wide there into turn 1, I see. Of course, they wanted to bring a little bit of a difference to some of the race weekends and decided to bring the sprint races and have it here at this race weekend. Lando still saying it feels harder to turn right than left, and we see him having a bit of a correction through turn. I think he's going through turn 4 right now there. Still struggling a little bit in his car. It was Yuki Tsunoda who went deep into turn 1 as Daniel Ricciardo now comes out of the pits. Daniel Ricciardo had a bit more of an encouraging race weekend out in China. We certainly hope he continues to have that turn of pace out here in Miami, a weekend where he really does enjoy the atmosphere. He enjoys America quite a lot, so we hope he does do quite well out here in Miami in his V-Carb car. He's done quite well with the launch, as now Sergio Perez sets the fastest lap time of the race weekend with a 129.6. Track certainly starting to ramp up quite a lot. Max Verstappen is out on circuit but has not set another fast lap. He's starting another hot lap right now as Adrian Newey is joining on the pit wall. Waiting to see Max Verstappen's first sector times. He's looking so neat and tidy though through that first sector right now, through the really difficult braking zone, through turn 6, 7 and 8, but he is just looking very neat and tidy. He's seemingly on a race run, as I don't see his DRS opening. No, he's on a race run. He's doing race sims right now, but he is looking very, very comfortable and very, very composed and neat and tidy out on circuit in his Red Bull car, getting through a little bit of traffic there, but making it neat and tidy. He's currently down in 5th place with his lap time. Piastri comes into the pits again. I wonder if he's also still struggling with his steering out on circuit. Getting past one of the kick Saubers right now is Verstappen, 2.4 down on Perez's time. Verstappen staying super, super close to that inside wall. Ooh, late on the brakes, and he locks up and goes quite deep there. It is a very, very difficult braking zone there. Max Verstappen continues on, though, to start another hot lap. Alex Albon sets himself up on the timing boards with a 1:31 and puts himself behind Max Verstappen in 6th place. Watching with Charles Leclerc in the pit wall, he's not looking too happy, as Max Verstappen, just watching this replay of what happened to him, he locked up his front left and just didn't want to risk any mistakes through that first corner, so he decided to just abort that final corner rather and start on his next lap. The track temperatures are really, really high. 49 degrees 0.9 is what I'm hearing right now. Very, very hot. Humidity around here is 58 degrees Celsius, and the air temperature is 39, or no, sorry, 29, not 39. 39 would be killer. As we're watching Carlos Sainz going around in their bluish Ferrari for this race weekend, courtesy of HP being their new sponsor. He's getting a good tow down turn 10 right now. Thanks to, I'm trying to see who it is. I think that's Logan Sargent that he's getting a good tow off of. He's getting held back quite a bit by Sargent as they come through turn 13, 14, and 15 now. Yeah, and he is backing off to give himself a little bit of space, and then he will go again, I'm sure, on his set of hard tires, which he's currently running. Sainz now starts to attack the throttle again to set himself up. A little bit of porpoising as we're still watching with poor Charles Leclerc. Not doing well at all, looking a little bit upset. Daniel Ricciardo moves himself up into 11th right now. 1:31.11 is his time. Perez still with the fastest time of a 1:29.6 right now, but that is on the medium tyres, with Russell and Hamilton alongside with him also on the mediums, and Verstappen and Zhou, the only other others out on mediums right now. The rest of the grid all running hard tyres, preparing by the looks of it for Sunday. and of course for the sprint race tomorrow evening. Ocon moves himself up into 4th place for the Alpine. Looking like there's some good pace for them on the hard tyres right now with the 1:30.3. That is a really good lap time on the hards. Lewis Hamilton, 0.11 faster. Lewis Hamilton's doing quite well, but George Russell is 0.11 faster than him. Really, really close between those two Mercedes drivers, but Russell just getting the upper hand over his teammate right now. Roberto D'Amico asking, is Leclerc allowed to go out or is he done for the session? If they return his car, I see this yellow flag in sector 3. Just trying to see who that might be. Don't know. We'll let you know who that was. Is Leclerc allowed to go out or is he done for the session? He is out of the session because his car is of course being recovered, but if they can get the car back to the pits, there isn't anything wrong with the car. So all they need to do is start it up again and get him in there and put another set of tires because those tires will be cold, and then he can get back out into circuit. But I don't know if they have the access roads to be able to return the car to the pits. Ooh, Lewis Hamilton going very, very deep into turn 15 and taking a big bounce over the curbs there on his floor. They'll be checking the floor, that is for sure, when he comes back into the pits. Hopefully he hasn't caused any damage there, otherwise that could be a lengthy process to fix that before sprint qualifying later this evening. That Mark will be bringing you on comms. Carlos Sainz puts in a 1:29.9 for the hards on his Ferrari. Very, very good lap time for himself, but the track is also evolving quite quickly out here as Lewis Hamilton goes up into second with a 1:29.759. He wants it to be better than his teammates, and he went and put in a better time than his teammate George Russell. Roberto asking or saying, thank you for asking my questions. No problem at all. That is what we're here for. If you have any questions, be sure to ask us down in the comment section. That is what I'm here for. That is what I love to do. And of course, we like to educate all new Formula One watchers, and old and new. If you're down in the comment section and I don't get to something, be sure to help everyone down in the comment section there. Watching on the Mercedes pit wall, we see Mick Schumacher is joining them for this race weekend. Great to see Mick at a Formula One Grand Prix this season. Of course, he is racing now for the Alpine World Endurance Championship team as one of their drivers in their endurance cars. But he is still the Mercedes reserve driver, so he does still come to race weekends in that reserve driver role should they need his services. But at the moment, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton out on circuit. Hamilton in second, Russell in third. Perez, though, still with the fastest lap time on a set of mediums with a 1:29.632. Max Verstappen is currently... Is he out on circuit? Yes, he is still out on circuit. He is still doing some race runs right now. Watching a replay from Lewis Hamilton going deep into turn 15. Really deep on the curbs there. Hopefully not causing any damage onto his floor, as I said earlier on. Daniel Ricciardo improves on his lap time up into 10th place with a 1:30.736. Behind his teammates still by about 0.2 seconds. Lewis Hamilton also struggling on the brakes through the final big braking zone out on circuit. Yuki Tsunoda also, I think we're going to see the exact same moment from him on a set of hards. Yes, we do see him going quite deep on the brake, and he goes beeping dreaming, man. So clearly struggling a little bit with the tire temperatures around the circuit. Bunch of drivers diving into the pits now, having run their first stint on whatever tires they decided to do, and they're going to swap around now possibly and go out on lower fuel and do some quali runs. Compy saying, just came in, what happened with Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc had a really rookie error, really. He came through turn 16, hit the curb a little bit on the left-hander, gave the car a bit of instability. The car did a full 180 and went rolling backwards, didn't hit the wall at all, but there just wasn't enough space for him to turn that car around, and unfortunately that caused a red flag. He got out of the car and he is now out of the session. Carlos Sainz going fastest in the middle sector right now on his hard tyres. So still quite a lot of time to fight out on circuit. Let's see what he's able to do. He's getting a good tow from one of the Alpine drivers as he comes down the start-finish straight. He crosses the line, goes fastest with a 1:29.346 on a set of hards. So clearly a lot of improvements out on circuit now with track evolution. 170 of you watching alongside with us. Thank you very much for joining. As it says here, the Miami Grand Prix will be his 70th start for Ferrari. For Carlos Sainz, a team he's going to be leaving at the end of the year, as Piero Ferrari is watching on this race weekend. He is the vice chairman for Ferrari. Compy saying, do we know if there are any substantial damages to the car? No, there's no damage at all. He did not touch the wall. He just ever so slightly touched the curb on the entry into that corner, unsettled the car. It is still a car that can be a bit snappy in certain corners, and unfortunately in the low speed there it was, and just sent him into a 180. Russell getting a good tow from Sergio Perez right now as they come down the back straight. I don't know if he's on a hot lap, but we'll wait and see what his lap time is going to be at the end of this lap right now. Sergio Perez looking like he's on some race runs as his DRS is not opening at all. Bob saying Verstappen is getting used to track limits and trying setup after setup. I don't know if he's come into the pits multiple times to try different setups. Possibly just happy with what he's doing right now and just checking his race pace on some high fuel runs. Laurie asking what happened to Leclerc. Someone please let her know down in the comment section. I've just said what had happened. Pietro Fittipaldi joining us in the comms right now on F1 TV. Of course, if you don't know who Pietro Fittipaldi is, I think he's the grandson or son of Enzo. Well, Enzo's the other one who's racing. It's either Fittipaldi who used to be racing in Formula 1, but he is currently just talking about how difficult of a circuit it is because of the tire temperatures. Emerson Fittipaldi, that's who it is. He's a Brazilian former automobile racing driver who won both Formula 1 World Championship and the Indy 500 twice. Watching George Russell, he's doing some race runs right now, and he is going out on circuit. I see no one's informed Laurie of what's happened. Well, Laurie, Charles Leclerc just spun in turn 16. No damage on his car, but unfortunately wasn't able to get his car around because of how tight the circuit is, and he had to retire from the session. It caused a red flag as well. So just following on with George Russell, I think he's going to be coming into the pits, or no, he's setting up another lap. I thought he was coming into the pits because he came quite slowly. Watching with Max Verstappen coming through turn 14 and 15, just seeing how this car handles this corner, sliding around quite a lot. So maybe a little bit of changes to happen in his car. Bob saying it's 9 p.m. out in Dubai. It is currently 7 p.m. in South Africa. Max Verstappen still struggling though in turn 17, coming onto the radio saying I'm front locking too quickly at the peak. So that's the peak of his braking. So they're going to be wanting to make a little bit of setup changes for him to get a little bit more comfortable in the braking zones. So he's just saying in the peak braking temperature as well is what is happening for Max Verstappen. Johan asking what happens to Leclerc. Leclerc spun in turn 16, couldn't get the car around, and he is out of the session, unfortunately. As now Sainz has gone even faster around on track with a 1:29.331. Piastri has gone faster with a 1:30.022 on a set of hards. He puts himself up into 5th place. He could have quite a lot of pace out in circuit this race weekend. The upgraded McLaren this weekend, just looking on at the Williams having some flovers around the side pods, as we have Tom Brady joining us this weekend in the Williams garage. They have flovers paint around their side, not side pods, their halo. Just having a look at maybe some upgrades over there on their car. Lando Norris back out on circuit now. Hopefully he's doing a little bit better, as they also have a ton of flovers on the back left of the car, looking at the Coke bottle, which is the engine cover at the back of the car, how it all flows into the rear diffuser, a crucial element on the car, and they brought some upgrades to that this race weekend. 24 minutes left of the session, as Lando Norris is half a second off of Carlos Sainz. That should put him ahead of his teammate right now, as he is in the first sector. He could still make up some time. Lando coming through turn 11, personal best in the first sector, waiting to see a middle sector for himself now as he comes towards turn 14, 15 and 16. Beautiful through turn 14 and 15, really composed is that McLaren, looking really comfortable and very neat with their new upgrades. TC joins us in the comment section. Hello TC, saying come on Lewis. Lewis is currently in P3. Watching Lando Norris, he's coming towards the final sector now through turn 17, where everyone has been having issues in the braking. He looks quite neat and tidy, misses the apex, but you can miss the apex there and optimize exits, as he does go ahead of his teammate Oscar Piastri with a 129.7, so quite a bit faster than his teammate by about 0.2 seconds. Brilliant for himself there as we watch Oscar Piastri coming through turn 14 and 15. Does he have a bit of an issue there? He does go a little bit deep and touches the floor. We can see a little bit of the floor plank smoking up there, as Bob says there, y'all think I should stay up till 12 to watch Formula 1 or sleep? Come on, Bob. It's Formula 1 this weekend. You can stay up to watch it. So apparently the issue with the McLarens is an asymmetric power steering issue in his car. So they're not able to repair that during the session. They'll only be able to repair that afterwards. So hopefully they'll be able to get that sorted out before the qualifying session later on. Adventurous Nomad says we'll also be up. So come on, Adventurous Nomad, join us for that. It's about 10 o'clock South African time. I'll certainly be watching it. I won't be with you on comms. Mark will be joining you for that session. As Corey says, depends. Do you care deeply about your sleep schedule? I certainly don't. So that's why we're going to be watching the Formula 1. It is the weekend as well. Who cares about work? That's on Monday. That's Monday's problem. And Bob says, not going to lie, probably no about caring about his sleep schedule. So we'll see him there for the sprint qualifying later on. Everyone doing some race runs right now, so not too much happening out on circuit, but hopefully we will get some quali simulations near the end. We have just over 20 minutes left of the session right now, as Piastri goes even faster with a 129.6. 129.7 was a guesstimate. Watching with Lando Norris starting another hot lap on his set of hard tyres right now. Still struggling with his power steering issue, but he is going to continue on. Jessica Martino says Formula 1 is greater than sleep. Yes, as Vivian agrees with you there. 186 of you watching alongside with us. Be sure to smash that like button, please, down below, as well as subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell if you are not subscribed to the channel already. We love having so many dedicated Formula 1 viewers on this channel, and we're now growing up our Moto GP community as well. We've also got a Discord that is linked down in the description below, as well as is our sponsor BITDEFENDER. If you want to get help with your cybersecurity needs, be sure to go and check out BITDEFENDER, linked in the description below. Of course, BITDEFENDER being the global leader in cybersecurity, and they are also a sponsor of Ferrari. So if you like Ferrari, go check out BITDEFENDER. Laurie Lawson says, so is Charles going to get to go back out for the session? I don't think he is going to be able to, unfortunately, because I don't think they're going to be able to bring his car back to the pits Addison saying predictions for the sprint shootout. I'm not too sure just yet. I'll let you know in maybe about 10 minutes. 10 to 15, let's say. Hulkenberg currently out on circuit, 3 seconds behind the fastest lap time right now through the middle sector, but it does look like he's on some long race runs right now. Verstappen first for everything, says Bob, and yeah, we're going to see what happens. Bob says, I live with my parents in an apartment, so it is going to be pretty hard. Just watch with some earphones, Bob. Bob says if Verstappen isn't first for everything, he'll do 20 push-ups. Well, if he does get a Grand Chelem or a Grand Slam, as it's called, being the top of every single session in a race weekend, it would certainly be something to do 20 push-ups for. But we'll have to wait and see. Adventurous Nomad with a nice comment there saying Ferrari may need to replace the entire clutch in Charles' car. Is there a grid place penalty for that? I don't know if they do need to do that. That is news to me if they do. But if they do, that may be a... trying to think. If they do it now, no. If they do it after qualifying, yes. So now, no. Going into qualifying and the rest of the race weekend, no. If they replace it now. So hopefully there isn't a clutch issue on that car. But if there is, they will... yeah, replace that. Bob saying, don't they have replacement chassis? Well, a lot of the teams now do have replacement chassis going from this weekend onwards. Prior to this race weekend, a lot of teams, for budgetary reasons, did not have a replacement chassis because it is quite expensive. And of course, going into the race weekend or into the season, they left development quite late and left building that spare chassis until quite late because they wanted to have it with all of the latest upgrades on it. So because of that reason, the likes of Logan Sargent had to run that repaired chassis of Alex Albon. Just watching a replay of Oscar Piastri just on the limit through that the end of the second sector. My word, just like this close to the wall as he exits turn 16. Vivian saying, I'm actually surprised because Verstappen isn't first on this practice round. He hasn't done any real hot laps. He did one early on in the session. 3 centimeters is how close Oscar Piastri got to the wall on the exit of turn 16. That is, wow, very, very close. Everyone is currently logging as many laps as they can as we have 16 minutes left of the session. As of course we have sprint qualifying happening later on this evening and then the sprint race tomorrow and qualifying for the race on Sunday tomorrow evening. And of course the main event, the race on Sunday. Bob saying, wake up Max. Max is currently just doing his race runs. He's in the pits right now as is the majority of the grid. And Yanni's saying, why are Hamilton and Russell 5th and 6th? Are all other cars sabotaged? No, I think everyone's currently just doing other race runs. They did their hot laps on those mediums quite early on. And yeah, they're going to continue doing their race runs right now on their mediums. And then they'll come in and maybe do some runs on soft tires. Adventurous Nomad, just with some information saying Xavier Charles' engineer said that they had a clutch overheat. That is why he couldn't reverse after the spin. Okay, that is news to me. Thank you very much for letting me know there, Adventurous Nomad. So that may be an issue, but it shouldn't be any grid place penalties. Coffee Dixon saying the W15 looks fast in the straight lines. Yeah, it does. Stoffel van Dorn, the test and reserve driver for Aston Martin, joining them this race weekend, sitting in the pits right now as we have 200 of you watching alongside with us. Thank you very much for joining us for this practice one session out of Miami. It is going to be an interesting race weekend. Ooh, a little bit of an interesting moment there for Fernando Alonso, trying to go around the inside and then having to switch back on George Russell. Watching with Lewis Hamilton cutting the chicane in turn 15. Yanni saying Max will zoom from 16th till 1st soon. Bit of a quieter circuit now. We've got Alonso, Bottas, Albon, Piastri, Norris, Zhou, and Hulkenberg out on circuit. It's showing Valtteri Bottas going a little bit slowly, but it might just be him on a slow lap. Radesh saying that Merc are looking good around the circuit. We certainly hope so. We hope that they find some form around here, as we'd like them to be well within the mix for the top of the running. We always welcome competition at the front of the grid, of course. We don't want to see Max Verstappen running away with it every single race weekend. 13 minutes left of the session now. We should see some other tyres being brought out soon, as we're seeing now Zhou Guan Yu on a set of softs for the first time this race weekend. Be sure to let me know what you think of the standings right now down in the comment section below, as well as who you're supporting and any questions that you do have for me. I would love to, of course, answer those for you. Bob saying Merc is only 5th and 6th because of the mediums. That could be true. I mean, they are... I enjoy in the Formula 1 game running on the hards around the circuit. They are very, very comfortable tires around here. They give you a lot of good balance, but we'll have to wait and see what is going to be the preferable qualifying tire around the circuit. Yak saying, is Leclerc going to come back next season? Well, it depends on the car. It depends on him, of course. He is still a very competitive driver, but we're going to have to wait and see whether the car and the driver combination helps him. Bob asks there in the comment section, who are you all supporting? The same question that I asked you guys. As Bottas is currently going out on a set of softs as well, and he is going personal best in the first sector, 0.6 off his science in the second sector. That should put him faster than Zhou, behind Russell though, so around 7th position. Verstappen is on an out lap, waiting to see what tyres he is on. He is on a set of softs. BK saying that they are a Merc fan. Thank you very much for letting us know. Bob saying Max is sleeping for a few minutes. He didn't get enough sleep last night. He is not sleeping anymore. He is out on circuit. So the drivers all starting to come out on the soft tyres, as we're watching one of the commentators getting a nice drink and putting his feet in the pool trackside here in Miami. Cora saying Ferrari girly, although my collection begs to differ. Well, here you go, Cora, little McLaren car here. I'm also a Red Bull fan, but I don't think you get the Red Bull minifigs. Albon saying, what is going on about something? Let me try and see what he was talking about. Going back quickly to see, he was going slowly on circuit through turn 2. Ooh, big snap in turn 1. That was the issue. What is going on? What was the rear locking? Or was that rear locking? So yeah, they're looking into it, and it was rear locking is what we're hearing. Looking at the upgraded floor on the Mercedes as they go out now on a set of softs as we go under 10 minutes left of this session. As we're getting more comments saying, Lobby is saying that they're a fan of pretty much everyone besides Stroll. I agree with you on that one, but mostly Ferrari and Red Bull. Vivian saying probably Ferrari and a Mercedes fan. Thank you everyone for letting us know in the comment section who you're supporting. Gasly now goes fastest on Assessor Sauce with a 129.1. Albon goes up into 4th place with a 129.5. Or asking, just checked up on free practice, what happened to Charles Leclerc? Leclerc had a spin through turn 16, overheated his clutch trying to get the car turned around. That caused a red flag, and he unfortunately is out of this practice session, but they'll be able to sort that out before sprint qualifying later on. Bob says you ain't rarely a Red Bull fan if you don't chug 12 cans of Red Bull per season or session. I'm sure you also have heart problems if you do that. Verstappen had a bit of an oversteer moment, and he gets told that was a gust of wind, a tailwind that caused him to have a bit of a moment there. Old Man Roo saying, I hope Danny Rick can pick up some pace. We certainly hope he's going to be quite competitive this race weekend. I'm always rooting for him. As much as it's tough on Yuki Tsunoda, I want him to be better than Yuki, because I want to see the old form of Daniel Ricciardo back, the late breaker, the really aggressive elbows out driver that was able to push his way through the grid and pick up places in a car that wasn't able to make that happen really. And he seemed to be struggling in the last couple of years, as George Russell now setting the fastest first sector on circuit, as we're watching with Carlos Sainz setting a personal best in the first sector. He's got soft tires on, now going through the end of the middle sector. Let's see what he does. 0.1 up on Gasly's time, but not secting purple sectors. Yanni says, I think Audi, with its parent company and its sister companies, could probably be competitive pretty quickly, and Carlos made a big mistake. Well, depends on where Carlos goes. Bob says, I do have heart problems. It gets broken every time Red Bull don't get a 1-2. George Russell going purple through sectors 1 and 2. Carlos Sainz goes fastest overall with a 128.9, the first 128 of the weekend. Horace says, I have to go eat dinner. See you all later. We'll wait and see you later for qualifying, sprint qualifying that is, but we'll have to wait and see who's going to be fastest in this session to give our predictions for sprint qualifying later. George Russell goes fastest with a 128.910. Verstappen says, the tires are way too hot, I have no grip. It's like driving on eggshells. So possibly just going a little bit too fast on his setup lap. 230 of you in the comment section or in the stream right now alongside with us. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so that you can get notified every time that we go live, as well as be sure to hit the like button so that our stream gets a little bit more recommended in the search bar. As Yuki Tsunoda goes up into 3rd on a set of mediums, Daniel Ricciardo as well goes up into 6th, 0.6 down from George Russell's fastest lap time. Yuki Tsunoda 0.2 down on George Russell's fastest lap time. Lando Norris still in the pits right now as Zhou Guanyu moves himself up into 12th. Lance Stroll goes up into P7th with 129.4. Mick Schumacher watching on in the Mercedes garage. Sergio Perez currently preparing his tyres for a hot lap, coming through turn 16 down the back straight. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left of the session now, as Ocon moves himself up into P7. Verstappen goes into the pits. Addison saying, does anyone else here like to bet on Formula 1? I certainly don't, Addison, but I'm sure there are others like you that do. Hulkenberg moves himself up into P7 with the 129.3. Bob says gambling is bad unless you're certain to win. Well, that's what the odds are all about, isn't it, Bob? So, watching Sergio Perez, he started a hot lap and has immediately aborted it by the looks of things. Addison says that's the trick. Waiting to see Max Verstappen is once again leaving the pits to go on an outlap on a set of mediums now. Let's see what he can do. He has losses running on the set of soft tyres. He cooked them, unfortunately, with his first quali attempt. Unfortunately, the temperatures are really hot out here. 44 degrees track temperature is what it was. 53 degrees is what it is now. So really has cooked those tyres. The air temperature is still sitting at 29, but that track temperature is absolutely killer. Adventurous Nomad says, I don't bet on sports that I actually like. Bob says, as soon as I gamble on Formula 1 or any sport for that matter, they are certain to lose. I'm definitely betting on Alpine though, says Bob. Perez has gone fastest in the middle sector overall. He crossed the line and goes fastest now than anyone else with 128.8 as George Russell and Sainz are on outlaps. Adventurous Nomad saying, I'm sure betting on Max right now isn't very profitable. The Miami Grand Prix circuit is quite difficult because it is just so tricky to get a decent setup here because you've got high braking zones, slow sectors, medium sectors, high sustained speed sectors, and you've got, of course, super long straights. As Joe says, Formula 1 is boring again. The same winner and the same car all the time. Well, it's certainly not all the same in the midfield. It's just Max Verstappen being completely dominant right now. Max Verstappen now was incorrect. Unfortunately, he is still on a set of softs right now. I thought he had taken another set of tyres. Joe James saying Moto GP. Yes, I also do Moto GP here on this channel, so be sure to join us next weekend for that, as we'll be bringing you the coverage for that race weekend. Max Verstappen coming across the first sector time now, 0.3 up on Sergio Perez's first sector time. Not the fastest though, overall. Addison saying Max to qualify pole has been very profitable, plus money earlier on. He is not profitable to bet on a win though. Verstappen coming through turn 11 now on these older tyres. A little bit of corrections for him, but so close to the walls and super balanced looking through this middle sector. Now coming through turn 13, 14 and 15 as Russell is going even faster in the first sector. Verstappen coming through the second sector marker now, 0.6 up on Perez's time. Purple middle sector. Will Russell be able to match that though on his set of medium tyres? 1 minute and 40 seconds left of the session. Addison says looks like they have caught up. Dum saying it's 2 a.m. in the Philippines and I can't stay quiet at the moment. Russell coming through the middle sector now. Where will he go in terms of Max's time? Max Verstappen goes fastest though with a 128.595, having lost quite a bit of time in that final sector to Sergio Perez. 2.2 seconds down now as George Russell has lost time in the middle sector. Carlos Sainz is 0.3 seconds down on Max Verstappen's time through the middle sector now. Track temperature, though, as I said, is 53 degrees out on circuit, so super difficult for all of these soft tyres that will be screaming with the current temperature. The two outliers, though, of the two V-carbs of Tsunoda and Ricciardo are quite interesting as they are 6th and 8th. Piastri moves himself up into P2. Brilliant time for himself right now. 0.1 down on Verstappen's lap time. I'm very excited from that lap time being put in by the McLaren. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this race weekend now because I think if Piastri can get himself nice and close, that should be a good indicator for Lando Norris, who didn't do any soft tyre running. He continued out on a set of hards, so trying to get himself comfortable for the rest of this race weekend. Joe James says, been watching Formula 1 since '93, showing my age now. LOL. Sorry, Jordan, I'm going to make, or Joe, I'm going to make you feel a little bit old. I was only born in 99, so showing my age there a little bit here. As we have 257 of you guys watching alongside with us. Kevin Magnussen, currently in P11, Foster through his middle sector, as Bob has asked how old I am. Try and figure it out from my year. If not, I'll tell you in a couple of minutes. As now the flag is being waved for the end of this free practice 1 session, and an interesting session that it was, as the fastest lap time was set by Max Verstappen with a 1:28.595. Piastri second place, 0.1 behind Max Verstappen's time. Carlos Sainz third, Russell fourth, Stroll fifth. Perez 6th, Hamilton 7th, Tsunoda 8th, Ocon 9th, Gasly 10th, Ricciardo 11th, Magnussen 12th, Hülkenberg 13th, Albon 14th, Zhou 15th, Norris didn't do a time on softs, he is 16th, Bottas 17th, Sargent 18th, Alonso 19th, of course, Leclerc was not able to put in a fast lap time because he did have that spin early on in the session. In turn 16, cooked his clutch and he had to retire. So an interesting session that was for the first practice. I'm going to give my qualifying predictions for later on this evening, the sprint qualifying predictions, that is. I'm going to say Max Verstappen fastest, Lando Norris second, Sergio Perez third, Carlos Sainz fourth, Charles Leclerc fifth, and we'll see what happens further on from there. But that has been it for me here on Forever Motorsports. A very interesting session. Thank you very much to all of you for joining me. We have still 250 of you in the session right now. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that like button as well. We're going to be joining you a little bit later on for that sprint qualifying. Be sure to join Mark for that session. But that has been it for me, Reese, here on Forever Motorsports. Thank you very much. Cheers.